Welcome to another edition of Sean Anthony Live. We got a hip hop legend in the building. Of course, you know, we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop all year long, and it's an honor to have one of the legends in the game. We got Kool Keith, man. What's happening, man?
How you doing?
Yes, sir. From the Bronx.
Bronx, New York. Like you said, we celebrating our 50th anniversary of hip hop.
So back when you created the Ultramagnetic MCs, back what it was like 83, 84?
That was 84. Me and Seth went to school together, 84. I started Ultramagnetic. It's funny how we started Ultramagnetic because me and Seth went to school together, and I was actually writing lyrics in school, but I was a dancer and Seth was a basketball player. So I went to one night, my friend took me up to a house in the projects on Webster Avenue, and it was Washington Avenue. And Seth's brother was up there. I didn't even know he was Seth's brother. We went up there, and he had a place called Mastermind Productions, and Mastermind Productions is the original Boogie Down Productions, the original Ultramagnetic Productions. Pat, Seth's brother Pat. So I was going to do a solo album with my friend Mike. And a couple hours later, I was up there. Seth came in the door, and I said, "This your brother?" "Oh, wow." He said, "Yeah." And I know me and Seth is in school every day playing. I was kind of the jokester for the basketball team, making them laugh at lunchtime. So when he got there, I said, "This your brother?" And the rest was how we got Ultra. And then he was like, "Yeah, we do an album together." Because I really supposed to do a solo album, and I ended up doing a solo album later, but that was the deal, to be Ultramagnetic till I get to a solo deal. And that's how we came about. I came up with the name.
What inspired that name, Ultramagnetic?
We was all on the big words when T La Rock was out, Special K, and everybody had 5% names, and Lakim Shabazz, and what else? Everybody was, back then everybody had names: Born Knowledge, Earth Wisdom. So I had said we're gonna be ultramagnetic and highest to attract, ultra and high power, magnetic to attract. The interesting. I came up with the name. It was kind of long. I was like, I don't know how everybody would have their name, but me and Seth had short names within Kool Keith, Seth G, but everybody usually had a small name like Run DMC, Shock G,
Right.
LL. They had, everybody had shorter, quicker names. We was wondering how we was gonna get that name marketed so much. People was mispronouncing it. Yo, y'all ultra magnetic. Y'all Stetson Sonic. They used to always get us mixed up with any other big name.
Right.
So ain't y'all Stetson Sonic? Ain't y'all Stetsonic? Y'all ultrasonic, right? Y'all ultrasonic. It was like, I don't know, people been funny in that, but then the name, it was hard to pronounce after a while. Then after a while, I got kind of comfortable because we put so much branding into the name. Then it got really clear that we was ultramagnetic. A couple of big records.
What inspired you, your style of lyricism? You get this, everyone talks about how deep metaphysics, just mental lyrics that tap into the mental, the psyche. What inspired your style? And it was so vastly different than any hip hop artists that were out at that time.
Well, it's funny because, we grew up in the streets and, working on Critical Beatdown, we used to leave. I would leave, going back to my projects, I would leave Webster Avenue about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning every night from coming from sets from maybe 7 o'clock to 3 in the morning working on the records. So I would leave. Even Tim Dog was up there working on stuff. So I would leave, walking back all the way down onto my projects, like 10, 15 blocks. And through all that, I was hearing gunshots the next block over. I'm like, every time I'm walking home, I feel like something's following me, but it'd be my corduroys rubbing together. Looking back, the blocks are just ghostly lonely. So I've just said we was inspired to be different. Like I was watching a lot of Star Trek and a lot of sci-fi movies. I was
Okay.
into Star Trek and what's that Doctor Who and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and I read a lot of astronomical magazines and stuff. So I was like, we could have wrote about the streets and the everyday life of
Hmm.
struggle, but I didn't want to do that. I thought it was kind of depressing. It could have been like life
Yeah,
is hard. Because everybody was doing the life is hard records.
right.
Life is hard. My dog ain't got no food. My mom's is on welfare and the struggle, and everybody was doing them struggle raps, and I was like, we can't do that. Like we were going through that kind of stuff. The life is hard.
Yeah, let me ask you though, how difficult was it in that time period living in the Bronx? Because I didn't live there, I didn't grow up there, but we would see the images of how the Bronx looked back in the late '70s into the early '80s and everything. Growing up in that environment, man, what was that like for you?
Uh, Well, I was going to school when KG was my friend. I went to when I was going to school. Well, when Kaz and them was out, I mean, we wasn't as popular then. I mean, Flash and them was like, I mean, Melly Mel and them was like the Beatles, superstars walking around New York with the leather stuff, and
Hmm.
Run DMC was out and Beanie and all that. But we was not out. I was dancing then, but I think for me it was more like. I was more like just getting a flyer to read and stuff. And I was going to Clinton then. So we get out of school, you hear all the radios, everybody walking around the skateboard. I mean, the Spanish people had the Webo going on. That was like they had their own music, and but them big radios was out back then, them JVCs and
Yeah, the
them
boombox.
with them yeah, the JVC with the one speaker, the big handles. I
Yeah.
had one of those. And the other JVC with the four speakers, and everybody had there was another radio, the Scion, whatever, an Ion. It was the one that light up all colors. You
Okay,
saw that one at
okay.
night, light up green, purple, little dots, be orange, red, and so that was like a cheap version, but a lot of radios was out back then. A lot of people had walking the streets with boxes and you heard a lot of those other street jams, not really records yet. A lot of them break beats. Like people would have them Theodore tapes and them Cold Crush tapes and
Yeah,
more of those like Jazzy J cutting and a lot of Soul Sonic Cosmic tapes. And that's all you heard. And it was about, like you said, the Cazal glasses and stuff like
yeah,
that. And you know, and like the exception of the ones con artists gave me,
yeah, yeah,
these are
yeah.
these are the upper versions. Back time they had the other ones, they were wearing them Sergio Valente glasses,
Gotcha.
and they had them other glasses. Kangles was popular, and
Talk,
still are, but they had a lot of culture too. Like you said, a lot of culture and the sheepskins and the mock necks and the pants was out.
yeah, fashion.
All the British Walkers and the Playboy pants and the shark skins.
Yeah,
The Brooklyn guys wore more of the shark skins and the Spitfire Kango and the Kazals with they knocked the lenses out.
yeah.
And I was going to T Connection at that time, like Ecstasy Garage, and I was going to the jams then when they would have the flyers for $5, $2. Go see a whole jam. Pay $4 to go see Cold Crush,
That's crazy. four
Fantastic Five.
dollars.
Huh?
$4. That's crazy.
$4 on the flyer.
Talk about 1988, right? It was when when you released your first album, right?
Yeah.
Um, what was that like? Did you feel like I have arrived when you first got a record deal? Like, talk about that first moment.
Um, yeah, when we first got the record deal with Red Alert walked the record and we had 500 copies of Eagle Tripping. First, we did a record to give you love. We ain't like that. It was the change in times of the drums. Like when Shannon and them came on, Molly Marlin and all of them was doing like the samples from the records.
Hmm.
And, we just pushed out 500 records of To Give You Love when the DMX was going out of style in the Lindrum.
Mm.
So we had to figure out that flop because we played it at Latin Quarters and me and Seth looked at each other. Nobody wanted to move to it. And we was like, damn, they cleared the floor. So we like, damn, it's a nightmare. And I had to go to Steve Martin, which was a friend of mine in high school. And I
Steve, the comedian?
no, Steve Martin was a friend I went to school with,
Oh,
who was a friend, me and him. And Steve Martin knew all kinds of records, Steve Martin from Parkchester. He knew all kinds of records. So
that's
yeah,
just his name.
that
Oh, okay, okay.
so now yeah, so what happened was I borrowed Melvin Bliss from Substitution. I said we got to use the drums that's out, or something with the sample kind of drum because I
Mhm.
think Rakim was out. A couple people was
88 was a massive year for hip hop.
switching to the samples of the SB12 drum,
Okay.
where you had to make your drums and tone them before the Lindrum. I think the earlier groups had the Lindrums and the DMXs, like you said, like Houdini and all of them had, Run DMC had the Lindrums and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and those groups from that time, like so LL and all them was using those drums. But they got more popular because it was in style at that time.
Hmm.
But when we came, it was the switch off when those drums was changing to the SB12. So
Gotcha.
I had to get that record. Said looped that record real quick, and Eagle Tripping pressed up 500 copies and it blew up in the street. Demand was so big that people wanted to, Music Factory, everybody was like, we need more copies. It's running out. Everybody, we got a pre-order of 30,000 12 inches for Eagle Tripping. We had to get somebody to press it, and we didn't have the power to press it because we just pressed 500 records and I gave Funk Master Flex one. I said, me and Flex used to sit in the car and have conversations. And me was more like regular friends. We talked about records. So I gave Flex one. I gave Chuck Chill Out. Red Alert had one. Red Alert had it first, but
Hmm.
he broke it. So what happened was Eagle Tripping jumped off really big.
Yeah.
Hottest record. Everywhere you went, you heard MC Ultra, MC Ultra. Every car went past, up the block, down the block, up the street, across the street. Ultra, you in the bed sleeping. Somebody with a radio, Ultra. So the record jumped off, but we didn't have the demand. So Red walked us into Next Plateau, and they picked up the record. And he said, Eddie, want to help y'all, with the distribution. And we had said, that's when I feel we made it. Then we was on Hot 97 and WBLS
Yeah.
spinning. MC Ultra was on there, and Molly Marr was spinning the Mr. Magic. I was like, we made it.
Yeah.
I was like,
How about that? So what kind of impact did it have on you when you guys got on the video with your music video, Yo MTV Raps? When the music video scene was really popping.
we never got. It's funny. Eagle Tripping carried us to a lot of the bigger portion of fame for us, but we never did a video for Eagle Tripping.
Right.
So we did a video like Two Brothers with Checks and maybe Papa Lodge was the video
Mhm.
that carried us over. We had the single Eagle Tripping, then Papa Lodge made us visually,
Yeah.
and then
So that goes to my point. How did that impact you when the emerging of music
with Fat
videos?
Five Freddy, and
Yes.
that was when we started doing MTV Raps and Rap City in the basement and
Right.
Sherry Carter interviews and stuff. We was stuff Donnie Simpson
Donnie
show
Simpson,
and
yeah.
sitting on there talking, having regular interviews. Because a lot of people forgot that, with Stu Fine when we signed with 1212 and everything, we did a lot of television. We did a lot of TV and stuff. We had a video music box with
Yeah.
Ralph.
Like
Papa
Daniels.
Lodge was on every day.
Ralph Daniels.
And raise it up.
Mhm.
but Populage was the main one. But we was on a lot of Rap City and, like you said, a lot of Donnie Simpson. BT was really good, and Sherry Carter. And that's when I knew we was out there. Like you said, I was like,
Yeah,
I can't believe we was on television like that. And for people not to see us, it was a lie because I'm like, how can you not see us? Our video came on after Jodeci or something.
right, right.
People played more like they didn't see us, but they try to keep us underground. And for me to be underground, the stuff that the publicity that we was getting was really good. Like,
Yeah,
even from me moving to LA after that time with Ultra broke up, that's when I decided to go solo. We did 3 albums together really with Ultra. But
why did y'all decide to break up?
we did decide to break up. There was an automatic, it was a deal that me and Seth had anyway for me to do a solo album. I had been supposed to do a solo album first,
But you put it off?
but I put it off to work with them. And I said, let me write, because I did a lot of writing. I wrote for Seth, a lot of the verses, and I was a writer. And Seth was a producer, and Trev was a producer, and Mo was a producer,
Let's
and
talk about that.
DJ.
Let's talk about that real quick. And I apologize for cutting you off, but this big thing in hip hop about writing for people. I know it's been going on for a long. Well, I know now as I've been
Right.
in this industry. I didn't know when I was growing up listening to hip hop.
Yeah.
But as a country singer, an R&B singer, a pop singer, you can have all of these songwriters, but it's this whole thing in hip hop. It's still music that you can't write for other people, even though we know now that there's been ghostwriters for many, many years.
Those ones for many.
How did Tell me how that started with you just writing for your group?
Well, I was a fast writer, so to get the process going, we wanted to get the money and get the budgets from the company. So I was saying that if I let him write, it's going to take a long time. So that ain't going to write so much quick enough to keep us moving fast at the pace and get the album done and finished. So I took that job. I wrote his lyric. It was easy because I was like, let me write his verse. So let me write a lot of his verses so he can be ready because he's producing, he's
Okay.
making beats. So I just said, let me get his verses together so he'll be ready to record at the same time.
So what is that process like when you write? I'm just curious. Yeah, after you write it,
I kind of wrote similar to things I would say, but I wrote it in his voice.
but do you record it and use a reference track, or you just give him the lyrics?
I just wrote it for him. I wrote it for him, and I just told him how to say it. And then, um, I think I did a few references, but I don't. Not really. He didn't need a lot. He just needed to see it, like
Okay.
relevant. And I told him listen to me, so he started listening to me. He laid his vocals down. So we had that process going on for quite a while. But the funny thing too, I never charged them for publishing. I never took 100% of writers with
Really?
without.
Were you conscious of that being an opportunity for money back then?
I wasn't. I was more.
There's a lot of people.
I was more for the group then. I was
Okay.
more like I didn't pay no mind to that stuff. I could have came back out of nowhere because we was just so equal down the middle.
Okay.
And I could have just been a beast and said, give me writers 100%. But I never did take it. And even though he took production 100%, but I gave him 50-50 on writers. And we still got checks and still get checks, but I shared writers with him. I think that was the biggest help for me, for him, is I gave him writers that he received some checks in the mail to this day. So
Do you regret not
that
doing
me,
it? Yeah.
taking the whole thing. Now, I kind of look like I gave him a blessing, kind of, because it was helpful to him. Because Seth was more of a basketball player. He wanted to play in the NBA, and Seth knew like Rod Strickland, and he hung out with Kenny Smith and a lot of them, and Walter Berry and all of them, and like even me, the ball players from Clinton High School knew me, so he was always deep into the basketball, but he didn't really succeed in basketball. He's a good basketball player, but as time went on, he didn't go to the NBA. But I think it was a blessing that I wrote lyrics, so he had income coming in. Said he had money from me writing.
Creatively, do you think that during that era, were you ahead of your time looking back, or did you know how advanced your lyrics were as far as content
Well,
wise?
intellectually, you had a lot of rappers like Special K. You had the Treacherous Three. You had T. La Rock. You had um, a lot of even LL was high tech. We had everybody was high tech lyricists, and Rakim was high tech. Everybody was on a high tech level of writing, like with the words and the intellectualism of using big words, and we was all kind of big wordsmiths. Everybody was seeing who could use the biggest words they could find. So I said, let's. I do think why me watching a lot of the movies and Mr. Spock late at night, I was able to compete. I was like, let me, use words
Mm-hmm.
that nobody could really pronounce and people didn't really pay mind to. So that's what when we did the critical beatdown was about using words that urban people don't necessarily use in the dictionary
Mm-hmm.
for so many years. We was like, let's try to use words that people don't never try to reach at.
Yeah.
The laziness, learning to pronounce them, learning what they mean. So that's what we was doing, putting those words in the perspective to represent us. But it was cool. Like you said, we could have rapped about, yeah, on the corner, I seen the man with the drugs and the heroin. We just said, we're gonna act like we don't even see that stuff, even though we saw it every day,
Right.
the liquor store, like you said, all that regular ghetto stuff around us, and we writing all that sci-fi stuff.
Did you ever think that, I hate to sound like I'm quoting Biggie, did you ever think that hip hop would take it this far? Like, did you think that 30 plus years later, you can still go touring and all of that?
Yeah,
Did you think?
I was telling somebody that the other day. I was like, I never thought that it would stretch that long because was doing that for so long, and I he never thought it would be from the turntables and plug in the wall in the street
Mhm.
that it would evolve to records and record labels and companies and shopping. I think hip hop started like so many people to have income and
Mhm.
jobs. Like you said, people was working in the business. A lot of people worked the business and made a lot of money from hip hop. Like, and it put a lot of people in good positions. Like a lot of people could have went to jail, prison.
Mhm.
And like you said, that was a job out of working in a factory, working for the MTA, working for because back in the metropolitan area, the stigma was like you had to be a so-called like you had to work for the MTA, you had to work for sanitation, you had to
Mhm.
have a uniform, you had to work for a
One of them
post office.
union
Yeah,
jobs.
yeah. Like people didn't respect you unless you walk around with a uniform. Like you got, yeah,
Mhm.
oh, work for the transit. Oh, yeah. People wear their coats and stuff, the name and the patch. But
Mhm.
when the rap came along, that was a different thing. Like people started making money and traveling and
Mhm.
flying. I was going to Europe in 88, 89, 90. And I was like, wow, I never thought I'd be on a plane going to Europe, like,
Right.
and touring Amsterdam and Germany and all those
Do you
places.
still get to travel and do shows out there now?
Well, my passport had got frozen with the issues of other things and child support, but it's just now it's getting ready to get released. But I was going to Europe a lot in Australia, and Canada. I was going to Europe numerous amounts of times before that happened, but I kind of got tired of going out the country because I was like, it's such a transition. The food,
Yeah.
the candy bars, the sodas, you buy chocolate milk in Europe and it tastes like peppermint. So everything is different. You buy a candy bar, you think it tastes like a Hershey bar, it tastes like licorice.
Oh
Everything
wow.
is a twist. You go grab Fanta and it tastes like, it's left.
You
it's
be like, I
left.
had my mouth all ready for some orange juice.
Yeah, yeah. So everything is left. Like, and you got to learn the tricks. Like, like what's that other, like a Mounds is that other
Oh,
candy bar.
kilometers.
Yeah, what's that other candy bar in
Oh, you
Europe
talking
with the
about?
coconuts on it?
Oh, almond joy.
Now I'm enjoying. Well, I'm enjoying Mounds is that other candy bar in Europe with it got a lot of coconuts on it. You know what I'm talking about? The blue and light blue, sky blue and pack. So you got to learn the like. Okay, this is parallel to that. Like, okay, you who is that? Or everything is a trend. It's hard too, but it's
Yeah,
not. You know, um, like you can look in your phone and tell you like what candy bar is equivalent to
right.
a Mounds, and it'll be like it'll pull it up. It'll tell you. It'll tell
So,
you right
so
away. So that's what I had to do a lot too, and I ain't like that for a lot of times. Sometimes when I went to Europe, I put like Chip Ahoy's in my bag and Pop Tarts and stuff. Sometimes you don't get that same thing overseas.
yeah.
It's a heavy transition.
So how are things for you now? Like you see um other artists that are considered, like Nas has just dropped like six albums, I'm sorry, in like 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Jay-Z, even though he hasn't dropped anything recently, but he's still dropping albums. And these are artists, that have been in the game for 20 years, uh, how gratifying is that for you to see that, hey, it's proving that hip hop does not have an expiration date. You can still, write, create content.
Well, I like you said with the K Slay, the 200 Deep is like it's variations of ages, and but people could still hang out and rap. Like it's no limit on rap. Like it's no limit on skills. Basically, it's no limit on skills. It's, people should be able to say, I don't think you get rusty. I think you get better. And I think when they had rap with the age, like the youth, it's still like baseball. Barry Bonds is going to always hit 75 home runs. I
Mhm.
mean, how you going to have somebody coming from the farm system? He's supposed to hit the same amount of home runs as Barry Bonds. And that's where I think rap got misconcepted with, like with sports, is you can't say the the rookies is better than the veterans
Mhm.
or somebody who's been putting more time in because it's still some form of skill development.
Right.
You know, you could be young, but you can't. You got like you said, you're gonna have your Sotos and one guy that come up real good. Like my nephew's good, an exceptional guy. He could rap with like some of the professionals. You got some young kids too, like say a guy like J. Cole, they might have a limited amount of time, but they just as good
Hmm.
as somebody that's good. So you got those different variations also, but then still you got a lot of dudes that ain't good.
Talk about it,
You
man.
got a lot of dudes
How,
that ain't good. Like I don't care. You just can't come in this thing for 1 year and start claiming some positions.
yeah.
And the bad part about it, you got a lot of friends that ain't gonna tell you.
Got a lot of yes men.
Yes, man. You got a lot of people that just won't say, "Yo, why don't you sit down, man? Just sit down, and you don't got it." Like, so that's what we have too. So, and with the internet, which I think, which messed a lot of them up, is that you ain't got a proper coach. You ain't got a like everything needs coaching. Everything
Yeah.
needs management. Everything needs overseeing. Like he said, baseball, they got farm, they got people watching,
Right.
seeing you develop. They got a guy watching you, see how you pitch in Triple A, seeing if you ready to come up to the majors and throw a fastball to somebody before they smack it out the park on you.
Do
Rappers is
you
the same way.
do
Like,
you see yourself because hip hop has grown tremendously now, and it has this whole ecosystem where, once you were an artist or a producer, now they have these roles at record companies. Do you see yourself, evolving into
like
on the
A&R and
business?
stuff like
Yeah,
that
in the
too.
business.
See, the only thing I felt like I like I think, like, say Jay-Z, he's maybe a true artist. Like myself as a true artist. I was explaining to somebody one day, I was telling them a true artist is a person that made everything from, okay, you have entrepreneurs. Like, I feel like if I'm a true artist, I don't want to sell bleach on the side and be like, yo, I started a bleach company, and I'm somehow trying to coincide bleach with the rap. Like, yeah, you've got the bleach thing jumping off, and then the urban people start saying, he got the bleach thing jumping off, and he's big time because he owned that big bleach company. I like pure artists. It's like Stephen King. I heard when I went up to the mountains one time to do a show, and then I didn't see no corporations up there. Like I didn't see no Walmarts, and you didn't see commercial places like Starbucks. Some people want the purity, like they like this guy made it just being pure rap. Like he did everything pure rap. Everything was pure. Like but then you got artists that diverse into podcasts or they, like you said,
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't start as a rapper, so you could do that, broadcasting.
Actually, I did.
Yeah. No, but I'm
Back
just
in the
saying you
day.
didn't like you didn't establish as a big
Right.
rapper
Got you.
to
Got you.
say,
Right.
then I'm gonna go to the podcast. But you got a lot of rappers that switched off and say, I'm gonna be a now I want to be an anchor man because my skills ain't good enough to
Stay classy,
last.
Santiago.
My skills ain't good enough to last, so I'm gonna turn into an anchor man. Or I'm gonna turn into now I'm gonna buy some I'm gonna use, I'm gonna spread it out, which is cool. It's nothing bad of being an entrepreneur still,
Right.
but I'm just saying you don't have too many purists. You don't have too many purists. Like you be like, I do this. His whole realm was that he was nice all the way around.
Right.
So,
Right.
I think Jay-Z, you could say was besides him like starting to be management, but that took a while. Before that, Jay, like you didn't see him on he wasn't feeding off being into something else.
Right.
He wasn't feeding off
It evolved into that.
trying to be an actor. He didn't try to do that. Like me, I did a movie a little later now in my career, but I'm saying I didn't use stuff like, some people want to be like, I bought a team
Right.
at the same time I'm rapping. I'm doing some conglomerate stuff later. I bought I opened up a hand sanitizer company
Yeah.
while I'm rapping.
Before,
It's like the purists. It's good to have the purists so people can say they made it from the true form. You
hmm
know, and then later on, it's cool. You want to branch out later and be like, yeah, it's time to join the Wrigley gum.
Right. Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying from the time in the beginning.
Before we wrap up, man, can you share a story that maybe no one has ever have heard? Just maybe what was like one of the most challenging things you had to deal with in this industry as an artist? It could have been something on tour. It could have been, business wise in the studio, a session that went. I mean, just share something that, that just, you never forget. You never
I
forgot about.
remember, I always thought like nobody could tell me to do my lyrics over. And I was working with Paul C, and we were working on Give It to Him Some, Ease Back. And I had such an ego of um nobody could tell me to write something. I mean do my lyrics over. So I laid my lyrics down of Ease Back the first time. And I see him and looking at me like, and I'm like, what? Like I flipped out, like, through the headphones.
Really, you went off.
Like I didn't say that. I was like, what's on? That's my vocals, man. So I was like, he's like, nah, man, you can nail it better, man. You can nail it, man. You can nail it. I was like, what do you mean nail it? I just nailed it. Like, and I was like, I went back and did them. And then when I heard it, I was like, he's right.
Mm.
But as time, I developed my own criticism. But it was just, that was the point I was like, why is Paul telling me to do vocals over?
Right, right, right.
So I was like, So he's like telling me, come on, like, yo, man, yo, I'm gonna mix it down for you, man. Just go back. Yo, trust me, do it. I believed in him. And then, I listened to what's the name told me one time about um at Uptown, Andre said,
Andre Harrell.
yeah, he said, Keith, you gotta have star vocals. He said, don't put your vocals in the music and not sit on top of the music. And I used to always hear Heavy D's
Can you say
vocals.
that again? He
He
said,
said you gotta have star vocals, man. You wanna say something and put yourself on top of the music. A lot of people used to hide behind music. They used to tuck their vocals inside the music
right,
and let
right. In the
the
mix.
beats carry them.
Okay.
And he used to say a good rapper should put themselves on top of the music. Like he said, because Heavy D had always had star vocals.
Yeah.
And he used to say, yeah, put your vocals on top. Like, stop, like, don't mix and blend inside the music. Because a lot of people, depended on
Yeah. I
music.
understand that.
And ever since then, I was into star vocals and Papa Lodge and all the records. Put the vocals up on top, sit on top. Because you supposed to, it's about you. You're supposed to say what you got to say. And,
Right.
the star vocals meant a lot. And I took that to heat a long time and ran with it. Like nothing should be tucked behind the music. Remember when you heard somebody used to be like, "What is he saying?
Yeah.
I can't hear him, but the
Yeah.
beat's dope." But
Yeah.
it's
How
about what you were saying.
how was your relationship with Andre Harrell?
Uh,
And how is his
Andre
passing?
was very good for us. I mean, when we went to Uptown, there was like we had fun with Dice and Dice, Andre, and Big Jeff and all the people up there, and everybody was very critiqued on what we should be and wear and stuff. Uptown was the ones that suggest that we go get the Dapper Dan stuff made for Critical Beatdown, but they was always into being present on stage, dressing.
Mhm.
Andre and them was always critical, like, y'all look nervous, man. Y'all got to put some clothes. Let's get y'all shopping, man. We need a stylist. And then I met June Ambrose and stuff.
Uh,
The times of coming up, and she told me one time, and she's like a number one stylist. She was like,
I follow her on
yeah,
social media. She's dope.
she's like, Keith, you could dress yourself, like. And that's when I was always into my clothes. Like some of these guys out here, they need a stylist. They need somebody to take them to the malls and pick
Yeah.
out their clothes and go to boutiques and stuff and coordinate them together. Like me, I never really had a stylist. Like, and for her to tell me that, because she's like, you good. You can pick out your own clothes. You good at picking out, all my images was me
Right.
buying clothes and coordinating them together. She told me that, and that's a good quote from a person that's a big stylist like that.
Yeah, she's a heavy hitter.
Yeah,
She's a heavy
so
hitter.
I took that as an honor for her to say something like that, And then anytime in the future, I had fun. Me and her used to go look at stuff together and clothes and stuff, but she does respect that I had taste in buying clothes and stuff
Right.
like that. But other people in the group maybe needed more help, like Sad and Trev and them,
Mhm.
And that's another thing with a group. It's hard to coordinate
Yeah.
what you're going to wear, and you got to fight with people because if you're going to look together in unison. That's why I respect a lot of groups in the past, like those bands, those funk bands, they got together and said, we're gonna put this stuff on together,
Yeah. The tights.
and the Whispers, everybody got
The
together and said, we're gonna put this on. But you can't
blouses.
be one person. A lot of groups, they gave up on that part, the creative part about
Yeah.
bringing a stage show to the stage.
Right. Right.
People just feel like it's still, at the end of the day, people are paying to see you and they want to see what's worth it. They want to,
I think that's why Busta Rhymes and Spliff Star work really, really well because their stage presence, number one, is always top tier, but
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
coordinate, they complement
yeah, yeah.
with their stylist.
Sometimes people go to the show just to see, well, let me see how he gonna dress tonight. Let me
Mhm.
see. I think rap took a turn in the 90s when the baggy pants came out, and everybody felt like it was cool to just look like grimy and grungy. But
Yeah.
I think people want to, see stuff. I think in hip hop, like we got the rock bands where everybody can't be a rock band. Like you got to say yourself. You're not the Sex Pistols. You're not. Rock bands, they can go out every night. They have an image. They on a turn of the press. But rap was different. It was like a macho thing. Rap was supposed to have been who got the color, who got the hat, who got the latest glasses, who got the.
I, now,
It's like a boxer when they get in the ring.
you,
You see some of them, they got the fancy shorts
yeah.
on. Even back in the days, Tommy Hearns and they had the velour shorts. They had
Right.
It's about the showmanship, basically.
But you came up in that era of the bravado in hip hop. Fast forward today, you got rappers wearing nail polish, skirts,
Yeah,
or shirts that look like skirts.
yeah.
You know,
It got too eclectic. You saying, like,
yeah,
well, one time I was in Scotland and I was shopping and I'm buying everything out. I was buying all kinds of suits and blazers and everything. And then I passed this store and they had kilts.
yeah,
And I almost said, I was like, man, this might be cool, like a kilt. But I just said, a kilt just looks like a dress. But I didn't go there, but it was kilts that was expensive and stuff. But I didn't go too eclectic. I think a lot of these guys, they travel to Europe and they get open and they see like a dress for a man.
Mhm.
And they said, I gotta get that. Like nobody in the States got that. But I haven't pushed myself to those limits yet to say,
But what do you think about the evolution of it in fashion? Because hip hop has always been influential in clothes. You talk about, when the transition into the 90s, into the baggy clothes era. Then you go to the, early, the mid 2000s where tight fitted,
yeah,
tight jeans and,
yeah.
you know,
I get it too. I was one time mad at the skinny jeans, but I like them too. They when you put them on, they fit good because sometimes, like you said, might not be as they may not make you look as heavy as you really are. For a lot of groups, sometimes you can put on something and make you look more than you are. Like
right,
you can wear a jacket that make me look like I weigh 900 pounds, and really I'm a skinny guy in a 900-pound looking jacket.
right.
So a lot of these guys sometimes too had a lot of material around them. And
Yeah.
they could have just got trimmed down.
Tailored. Yeah.
Yo, no, I'm gonna give you a. I think you need a medium. Why you been wearing 3X
3X.
all your career? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but it's in their mind. They feel like the more baggy I look, the more hard I look, the more grimier. Everything they bought big. I bought bigger shoes. I bought a bigger shirt.
Yeah.
But it's not the point. It's just trimming down. Like, and then sometimes a lot of those clothes start to get heavy. If I'm wearing a eight, a 5X, it's heavy.
Right.
Walking around dragging that weight of the jacket when you could have had a nice little jacket that's fit your size.
Right.
A lot of people just didn't take time to turn around in the mirror
Yeah.
and they just go on stage and like you said, but it's not their fault. Sometimes that's the job of a
The
stylist.
stylist.
Somebody say, I mean,
Have you considered doing that now?
styling people.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to style my nephew, but he's competing with me too. He got different images, but sometimes I look at him, I'm like, I wonder what he's doing. But I gotta let him be him too sometimes.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
has an image because I came up with an image, people would have been like, what is he doing?
Right.
I wasn't scared, but it's all what it is. But you gotta sometimes work with the person or something, or take maybe try to get to the closest thing they trying to say. Oh, hey, okay, I got what you're doing. Let me put some image into that.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's a lot of people. Then you got people that's hard headed.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, this is my shit.
Right. It's stubborn.
Wear a big hat that's bigger than this room. You know. So it's like it's a pro and a con to it also.
Throwing the
You know what
car.
I'm saying? It's a pro and a con
Yeah.
with it. But I mean, it's all good. But like you said, it's something though. Like you said, it's all. But like you said, when people travel, they start getting more eclectic when they go to Europe and buying.
Open to different
Yeah,
experiences
you
and stuff.
start buying
Man,
$700 jeans because you
yeah,
see them and you say they came from France. You
right,
gotta get them to say, I went to France and I got the jeans on that I go to France.
right. Just to say it.
Yeah,
Man, listen, I can talk to you for hours, man. I
yeah.
know you got a show tonight in Columbus. Um, Plug your show, man. Let
Oh yeah.
everybody know where you at tonight.
Still looking for the
Roots Records?
Rich Street Records. Rich Street Records.
Rich,
Okay, yeah.
Doing it at 8 p.m. tonight.
8 p.m. I think they moved it because of malfunction at the club or something.
okay.
Something. Oh yeah, or something with that. Well, whatever. But it's all good. I mean, like you said, we've been hitting spots. We've been in the mountains. We've been all over. We
Very
came all the
cool.
way from Seattle, all the way down the West Coast,
Nice.
working our way up east, back down east, and back up east. So
You got anything that you want to promote you got coming up?
I got the Love Infringement record. That's the record they playing right now, and maybe I give you another treat or something if you want.
Absolutely.
And we got Black Presley and another song. So, and that's what we're doing. People hit me on official Instagram, Kool Keith, Ultraman 7000, Twitter. I don't know if the other guys want to give up their information.
It's cool.
Yeah, Mark Live in the house, co-producer Black Elvis. Go
Yes.
to Mark Live, give in, Instagram.
Mark Live.
Yes.
MC Homeless, you can look me up at Rust Belt Hammer, RustBeltHammer.
Gotcha.
And Jay Styles.
Jay Styles is here in the house.
What's up? I'm DJ Halo. You can find me at Halo Doesn't Suck, all one word.
Yo, I forgot to talk about Black Elvis, man.
Um,
What inspired that, man? That whole movement.
But Black Elvis was like when I first made the project, it was supposed to have been like the urban Black Elvis. When Columbia took it, they kind of made it more like an alternative Black Elvis. The marketing department. I spoke to somebody up there. I don't want to say their name because they was cool.
You ain't throw no chairs and
No.
flip papers.
It was just I wanted to. It was supposed to be an urban way of doing it, but they took it more alternative. They said it was different, but it was supposed to have been Black Elvis Presley, like the urban Black Elvis Presley. Me making urban music and doing stuff like if I was Slave or Confunction or anybody else, Daz Band and anything. They took it into a twist with the wig and stuff, and it was a good accident and a bad accident because it fell into the arms of different people, weird people and eclectic people, which was it changed a little bit of elements of.
Did you anticipate that?
I was surprised, but now nowadays I'm
Kind of glad.
kind of glad because like you said, rap. A lot of these dudes got some different kind of audiences. Some of these dudes got violent audiences. You got people that just want to come to the club and do something that they don't need to be doing.
Yeah.
And you got people that want to come to the club and spend some money, buy some shirts and merchandise, and give you a pat on your back. You got a lot of different artists that got problems. They go to shows, they got a problem getting into the show and getting out the show. They don't know, what might happen. So I'm kind of cool like that. It turns into. I mean, when Eagle Tripping was out, when Ultra was out, we went from like you said, we played the hole in the wall spots, like you said, the regular ghetto spots that was the hard spots, and everybody had their days playing the hardest spots, and
Yeah.
club shoot 'em up, everybody had that.
Right.
So it's the point though, do you want to do that the rest of your life? You want to play club shoot 'em up, you know club jealous, after you get a certain point in your life, you think about it, you say, do I want to do this?
Maturity.
And then, you could be playing festivals with, a million people out there and with rock bands and have a great time.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, money ain't got no color on it. You know, money has no color on it. I can't go out and be like, okay, this is the brown money, it's the white money.
Right.
It's all the same. You
Yeah.
know, dollar bills ain't got colors on
Yeah.
it. And that'd be imagine if you had to get paid. Like, yeah, I gotta use brown money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, listen.
These guys don't, you know, they got a long way to go too. So it's, like you said, it's all kinds of places to play. And I feel sorry for them. You got a lot of talented people they gotta play, and it's like you said, it's like baseball once again, you gotta play AAA. Some people gotta come up, work their way up to festivals, work their way up to theaters,
Yeah.
work their way up to the clubs, different kinds of clubs. Me, I played all kinds of clubs, from the amphitheaters to the theaters to small spots to spots where people
Any
standing
venue.
on the same level floor as me.
Right.
Like I'm on the same floor and they're on the same floor. There's no stage to look down. Then I played places where people was 20 feet away from me and security's down there. It's a big festival.
Right. Right.
Big places. So I learned to deal with all of them, you know. You know, I've done private parties, and fortunately, I ended up with a fan base that you said it could be. I remember I had a bunch of lesbian women book me for a show, or a bunch of doctors book me for a show.
How about that? Doctors and lesbians.
Yeah. Just money is money. Money is money, and like you said, people book you. A hospital could book you for a show.
But look at that. That's hip. That goes to show you how transcendent hip hop is, man. It doesn't matter what genre, what ethnicity you are, what country you're from.
No.
Good music is good music, man. And look, it's been an honor, man, to first meet you face to face.
Yeah.
You know, grew up listening to you, man.
Yeah.
As a little, kid, little shorty in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And fast forward 20 plus years later, I get an opportunity to sit across from you and chop it up with you.
I used to stay in Jersey, Newark. I had a place in Newark. People recognize me when I come through the PATH train. They're like, yo, you Kool Keith? You live out here? I'm like, yeah, I'm down the block.
Kool Keith, man.
So like you said, the involvement of me from since I was in junior high school, I always wanted to travel, you know, because my father and them was 18-wheeler truck drivers. So I was always an ambition of wandering, because people
Gotcha.
used to tell me, like, your son is down playing by the highway. You know, he should be down there by the major D. And, you know, I was always wondering where trucks was going. You know, I could have got kidnapped as a kid, because I used to always talk to truckers and ask where they going as a kid. Like, what you got going?
You're curious, huh?
Yeah, but I'm like, they could have took me and snatched me in the rig and been gone. And, you know, so I'm fortunate nothing like that happened. But I was always curious about the road. I remember staying in the Bronx and saying, one day I want to travel all these interstates.
And look at what
I
has
ended
happened.
up doing it, looking at every truck and flying J's and pilots, you know, looking at Peterbilt's, Kenworths, and Marlins and Max and every truck out, and traveling through all them cities and smelling diesel fuel every night. You know what I'm saying?
Well, thanks again, man. I know you got to get ready for your show, man. It's a pleasure and an honor. Hip hop legend Kool Keith, y'all.